Hola, buenos dias. This lesson is on demonstrative adjectives and pronouns. You can find your textbook explanation of this on page 168 to see some examples and more description. So what are demonstratives? Think about this in English. Can you identify demonstratives? In English, they would be equivalent to this, these, that, or those. And their purpose is to specify people, places, things, and ideas. So we use them to demonstrate differences, and in Spanish it's a similar concept. So, a few things to keep in mind in Espanol. Your demonstrative adjectives will go before the noun, and adjectives and pronouns must agree in gender and number with the noun they modify or replace. So this is different from English. So we have gender forms, masculine, feminine, as well as singular, plural, and they have to agree with the noun that they are modifying or the noun that they're replacing in Espanol. In Spanish, demonstratives also show you distance from the speaker. So here's a chart to give you an idea of how these work. Imagine that you are here, okay, and as you move in this direction, you get farther and farther away from your reference point. So we have the singular demonstratives on the top, we have the plural on the bottom, and then we have masculine and feminine broken down as well. The yellow category refers to demonstratives that are closest to you, so cerca, and in English this would be equivalent to this and these. So we have este, estos, esta, estas. A little bit farther away, un poquito lejos, we have that and those. So ese, esos, esa, esas. And then muy lejos, far away, or also we can use this to imply that it's something long ago. We have aquel, aquellos, aquella, aquellas. So notice the spelling of these. We go from E to O in the plural form. Same thing with that and those. And then we go from one L to double L in plural. And then in the feminine forms, plural in both. So you need to know how to spell these correctly. But these are your basic sets of demonstrative adjectives. Okay, so let's look at this chart. We can see this in action. So here's our vantage point. We get closest, este chico, esta chica. A little bit farther away, ese chico, esa chica. Farthest away, aquella chica, aquel chico, and then the plural, aquellos chicos, aquellas chicas. So notice the endings in red and how they change to agree in gender and also to agree in number with the nouns that they're describing. All of them go before the noun, just like you would in English. So this boy, this girl, that girl, those girls far away. So demonstrative pronouns work very similarly, and they are the exact same forms as the adjectives, but instead of using the demonstrative with the noun, you're completely replacing the noun. They still have to agree in gender and number, and we'll look at an example. So, ¿quieres ir a este restaurante? Here we have the demonstrative adjective. Okay, so do you want to go to this restaurant? And imagine the answer, no quiero ir a ese. So no, I want to go to that one, the one that's farther away. So este agrees with restaurante, and it's an adjective. But here, notice, restaurante has completely dropped out, and we're only using the pronoun form. So it still agrees in gender and number with restaurante. It's masculine, singular, but it's working on its own as a pronoun. So just like any other pronoun, it's replacing that noun to which it refers. So, ese in this case is the restaurante. Here's some more examples. Let's look at adjectives and pronouns working in a conversation. So, este artículo es muy interesante. We have, this article is very interesting. Sí, este que habla del concierto reciente es muy interesante. So, yes, this one that talks about the recent concert is very interesting. So notice, they're the exact same word, but they have a different grammatical function. Here we have the adjective, and then here we have the pronoun. Another example, ¿te gusta este mural? No, no me gusta este, prefiero aquel. Okay, so do you like this mural? No, I don't like this one. I prefer that one farther away. So everything is still agreeing with mural. Here we have the adjective agreeing, masculine, singular, but here we have our demonstrative pronoun closer, and then this demonstrative pronoun farther away. So oftentimes when you translate it, it will be this one or that one when you're thinking about it in English. We also need to keep in mind there are neuter forms, and these are forms that are actually gender neutral. So we'll use these when we're referring to a non-specific thing not yet identified. Okay, pardon my spelling mistake there. Or to identify an idea, concept, or situation, we can use the neuter form of these pronouns. So this is when we don't have a word with a specific gender that we can pinpoint. So these forms are esto, eso, aquello, and it's still the same distances implied. So this, that, and that over there farther. So let's look at an example. When would we use these gender neutral forms, or the neuter forms as we call them? So Pablo siempre llega tarde y eso no le gusta al profesor. So Pablo always arrives late, and the teacher doesn't like that. So this is neutral. The teacher doesn't like that. Well, what does the teacher not like? The teacher doesn't like that Pablo is always late. Always being late is a situation, okay? It's not something with a specific gender. So we can't use one of our gender-specific forms. We have to use the neuter form, eso. Here's another example. ¿Qué es esto? What is this? And let's imagine it's something I've never seen before. I don't know what it is. If I don't know what it is, I can't identify its gender. So I use the gender-neutral form, esto, to ask my question. Another one, su padre está enfermo y esto le hace triste. So his dad is sick, and that makes him sad. Well, what makes him sad? The whole situation, the fact that his father is sick. That makes him sad. His father being sick does not have a specific gender because it's a situation. So we use the neuter form in that case as well. Okay, so complete your guided notes and go onto Whipple Hill and do the comprehension check. Okay, you'll see some questions similar to this. This is a practice that you can do. Can you replace the article, the definite article, correctly with the demonstrative adjective? And these are your distance context clue. Aquí, closest, allí, a little bit farther, and lejos, the farthest away. So think about your categories. How would you replace? For example, number 1, la puerta está lejos. So this is going to be my aquel, aquella category. Puerta is feminine and singular, so aquella puerta está lejos. And that would be my new form. That door way over there is far. So do the same thing with 2 through 5 and see if you can figure out what demonstrative adjective should replace each context. Here's a brief review. You can take a look at this, and it summarizes everything we just talked about. Okay, so you can see some examples with masculine and feminine nouns. You can see our 3 distance points. These are also 3 ways to describe that. Aquí for cerca, ahí, distancia media, y allí, lejos. And then this is a summary of our forms. Okay, if you have any questions, bring them to class. Here's a quick joke that also uses a demonstrative adjective. Can you find it? Adiós, hasta luego, ciao.